The South Carolina Hall of Fame was founded in Myrtle Beach in 1973 to recognize and honor contemporary and past citizens who have made outstanding contributions to South Carolina's heritage, history, and progress.
My first encounter with Julia Peterkin was Roll, Jordan, Roll. Beautiful photographs, and it was Julia Peterkin's commentary that interested me, thinking all the time that she was a black woman.
And the Peterkin story is a fascinating and phenomenal story because she is white. For Julia Peterkin to win a Pulitzer, I mean, she was writing about people that ostensibly nobody wanted to hear about.
Why does this woman, who never wrote a successful paper in college, how and why did she become a writer?
Julia Mood was born on Halloween 1880 with a caul, a veil of fetal membrane over her face. According to her Gullah nurse, it meant that she would be blessed or cursed with the gift of second sight. Her mother, Alma Archer Mood, died of tuberculosis before Julia's second birthday, and the little girl was sent to live with her paternal grandparents. The New South needed educated women, and colleges opened to produce them. Julia and her sister Laura seized the opportunity to enter Converse College in nearby Spartanburg. Julia showed more interest in drama and music than writing. She later claimed that her sister Laura wrote all her college papers. She stayed an extra year to earn a master's degree, and in 1898 set off to make her way in the world. Like many Converse graduates, Julia Mood became a school teacher. She wasn't quite 20 years old when she arrived at a country school in the rolling farmland of the Carolina Midlands. Willy Peterkin, heir to nearby Syne Plantation, was sent to meet the new teacher at the train station.
When he got back home, he said to his mother, he said, "Why in God's name did you ask me to go meet that hideous red-headed lady?" He said, "She's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life." A year later, he was marrying her.
Willie took his bride home to Syne Plantation. The working farm sprawled over 1,500 acres of fertile land, planted mostly in cotton. Julia Mood had been raised in town. Julia Peterkin was unprepared for the self-contained world of a farm with hundreds of black residents and only a handful of whites.
Little by little, I became interested in the people who so patiently worked the stubborn fields and forced them to make the good crops that provided my food and clothes and pleasures.
She would write. In an effort to learn what she called the rules of writing, she took a correspondence course. As she struggled with her assignments, she saw that poet and singer Carl Sandburg was performing in Charleston, 90 miles away. Burning with ambition, she wrote, inviting him to Syne. Intrigued, Sandburg gave in and paid a visit. He liked her first stark, almost poetic sketches and offered to help her find a publisher. By 1924, Peterkin was ready to send off the manuscript of her first book. Within the striking cover were a series of stark short stories, a loosely woven portrait of a rural black family whose fortunes are tied to their struggle to wrest a living from the land.
Julia Peterkin's Green Thursday is a beautiful book. She is a Southern white woman, but she has the eye and the ear to see beauty and know truth. W.E.B. Du Bois, The Crisis.
You have done a most valuable job. There is considerable discussion among colored people of your book. I do hope that you will continue writing. Walter White, Assistant Secretary, NAACP.
Peterkin's fiction is coming out when black musicians from the South are making their mark and creating jazz in New York.
It's the age of the Harlem Renaissance. It's the flowering of black culture. Some people might say this is a period when individuals are looking at African Americans as exotics. I don't really think you can say that about what Peterkin is doing. I think she's writing about life, and especially progressive America was interested in this life that she represented.
A strong, defiant black man was the tragic hero of her next book, Black April.
And this foreman, this Black April, is a demon of a foreman. He is the epitome of manhood. Everybody respects him, everybody fears him, everybody loves him, i.e. the women. And evidently her foreman was like that. He was a tower of strength on Syne Plantation.
There was one horrific thing that had happened to her, where she had gone to bathe a foreman's feet, and apparently he had dried gangrene.
And as they were sitting there, his toes literally came off.
Some of the people in the African American community there felt that she had caused the problem because she soaked the feet.
Julia drew on her experience with Frank Hart. In the novel, she turned herself into a black man, Uncle Bill, who prepares the foot bath.
When he is dying, he's had his limbs amputated by a doctor all the way up to the hip. He says,
"My time's up. I's done for. I know it. I got one thing for ask you, Uncle. You do it for me, any? Yes, son, I do. Couldn't rest in my grave if you fail me now. Uncle, bury me in a man-sized box. You understand? A man-sized box. I've been 6'4", Uncle. 6'4".
I was 6'4". Bury me in a man-sized box. Because he was a man, and he was every inch a man.
Scarlet's Sister Mary was in bookstores by the fall of 1928. It became Julia's most popular book.
Scarlet's Sister Mary sold over 1 million copies, and that's very impressive.
She was basically an unknown writer, and she was writing about people that ostensibly nobody wanted to hear about. There is a duality to Julia Peterkin's performance. It was stellar in some regards. It was certainly subversive in some regards. It was also progressive in some ways. At the same time, it was also problematic because Julia Peterkin was living a life that she really had no right to live. She's writing about people who can't escape her gaze, basically. They have no choice in the matter. She's in charge. She's got the view. She's got the paper and the pen. And she's got the words, which is the real wealth.
Dear Carl Sandburg, my new manuscript, a novel, is done. 'Twas dreadful drudgery and keen pleasure, both.
It's the book that's most about the kind of social change only hinted at in Black April, and Scarlet's Sister Mary is full-blown in Bright Skin.
A great empty big house, once the proud home of the plantation masters, is now an old crumbling shell with broken chimneys and a rotting roof. The outside world looked beautiful, but the big house smelled moldy, as if everything in it were dead.
Julia now saw the plantation through the eyes of her motherless heroine, Cricket.
I want to see what a town looked like, Blue. Pure beautiful at night with the lights shining and everybody walking around on the street. I stay on ya, Blue. Ain't none ya for me but for dry up and get sour.
Cricket eventually takes off for Harlem, leaving behind Blue and the monotonous drudgery of farm life. Roll, Jordan, Roll was published in 1933, a year after Bright Skin.
She writes a book of nonfiction, accompanied by these brilliant photographs of Doris Ullman, which is a paean to the Old South, to the way of life that's no more.
Julia Mood Peterkin died in 1961. She was 81 years old.
The reality in art is, if it's good, we will see it. Her work was influential and will continue to be.